30 years. So I write a lot about work, so excuse me, but it's all about work, apart from a couple at the end where it's about poets. First one's called Lucky Charms. Some of the people I work with have made these spaces where they spend 11 hours a day protected areas. They have developed elaborate internal defences that have convinced them that these spots they sit in are almost sacred. They use plastic figurines, pictures, stones and cactus plants to ward off any bad luck that might try to invade them. As every morning these lucky charms are unlocked from their lockers and carried like sacred relics to their owners' workstations, where they will all day look down over them, spreading their good luck into the hearts of these men who just want to get through another day, another week, to another paycheck. As Lenny places the 2 plastic Buddhas of his on top of his control box and breathes in a deep breath before his shift starts. As Antoine crosses himself and kisses the forehead of the plastic Jesus his mother gave him just before she died. As Tommy places down his moonstone and mini cactus on the shelf above his control box, thinking that the spirits of the desert will now be watching over him. As Robbie never forgets to pat or stroke the furry head of the troll that his dead sister gave him on his 7th birthday. And Bill blue tacks back up the 4 pictures of his grandchildren around his monitor as a reminder of why he is still controlling. And Lucas hangs a picture of a man starving in a potato field on his headphones hook as his. We all have things we believe in to thank for this job, for this still beating blood, for the lady who makes a home for us to come home to every night, for the car that fires up when you twist the key, the numbers that give us a much needed tenner on the Thunderball on the last weekend of the month, for the neighbour who helps you lift the freezer up the stairs, watches over your children when you're late home from work, for the insanity of kindness we are still able to show each other, the wine we are yet to drink, the hot water we bathe in, the wolf unable to find your door yet. We all have things to thank that we believe in for no other reason than it feels right. Because without them, we would take even more magic away from the world than already has been. I'm not going to talk a lot in between the poems because I'm shitting myself and this is the first time I've ever done reading anyway. This job has us in its mouth and is shaking us about in its teeth as we stumble from one bill to the next, just about managing to keep food on the table and a roof over our heads, apart from the last week, that is, because that's when we have to start with the lies, the borrowing, the asking of favours, that all put together hopefully will produce just enough to get us over the line and into the next month. This job has us in its mouth and is shaking us about in its teeth as we stumble from one hangover to the next, trying to balance the drinking so that it has as little effect as possible on the job, the woman, the kids, and our hearts that seem to want to just pump their way out of our chests as our minds can't face anything else other than another drink, another taste of that freedom. This job has us in its mouth as it is shaking us about in its teeth, as debt runs through us like streams of poison, debt who takes us for walks in the park, never letting go of our hand, debt who always sits next to us on the bus even though it's half empty, debt who just wants more company, who just wants more attention and more debt on offer like a can of Coke, on offer for us to slip our wrists into. This job has us in its mouth and is shaking us about in its teeth, as only our guts allow us to hold on. Those guts that pull us up off the floor, that make us feel strong and unbeatable, that we carry around with us inside our stomachs and our fingertips, that make us laugh, feel lucky, hold, glasses of wine and beer in our hands, dance with our women and children around in circles as we all throw our heads up in the air, see the entire universe up there on our side with the sea and the stars in our eyes and that unbeatable laughter to prove it. This is called the bodies of kings. The 2 bodybuilder mechanics and 3 bodybuilder controllers used to bodybuild together at the gym every lunchtime and after work. And there was a fierce rivalry between all of them as they compared bicep circumferences and thigh muscle circumferences, always with a neon or shit-coloured protein drink in their hands, walking around the control room, screwing up their faces in utter disgust at what their colleagues fed into their mouths, walking around the workshop in t-shirts 2 sizes too small for them, their biceps and shoulders stretching that material, flexing their muscles every now and then like glistening stallions under a Kentucky sun, as they spoke in almost revered tones about bench presses and squats and 120 kg, as though they were their gods, looking out of those ever-decreasing pupils of theirs and down along their noses at the drunk controllers, who couldn't get through a night without a drink, coming in looking tired and beaten, wishing the day away just so they could get at another drink, at the fat and obese telephonists who couldn't get through a day without their fix of burger and chips, continually munching away in between on Doritos and cheese balls and Haribos and chocolate, at the couriers who had no time for anything else other than keeping down the 3 jobs they juggled, who only ever wanted to talk about the different ways they could sell their labour so that their hands could earn as much money as possible before they died. And at the gamer controllers, who rushed home from work after their shifts to spend 8 hours solid in front of their screens trying to fend off a nailing invasion of Earth, as the bodybuilders strolled home like panthers, only to sit naked on their beds, with their legs apart, up in the air, waxing themselves, ripping off every last hair from their arse cracks and perineums and scrotums, administering enemas to themselves just before they went to bed, trying to drain every last drop of fluid out of those bodies of kings. Not everyone can be as focused and disciplined as those bodybuilders do. Some of us have fucking lives to live. This one's about a friend of mine who he actually got sectioned in the end about 6 months ago, but he's free from that again, and now he's trying to pick up the pieces of his life without a job. It's called Banned from Shooting Up Nails into a Tin Ceiling Like a Cowboy. Ronnie has been banned from going... Ronnie has been banned from going down to the workshop in his lunch hour. He has been banned from going in there and picking up the workshop's nail gun and waving it around in the air, shooting nails up into the tin ceiling like a cowboy. Banned from picking up those big white mount spanners in his hands and chucking them at the walls like a circus knife thrower. Banned from laying out 10 tyres side by side on the floor and running through them, stamping his feet through the centre of each one like a marine in training. Banned from picking up exhaust systems and holding them in one hand behind his shoulder, pretending to launch them into the air like an Olympic javelin thrower. Banned from removing the sump plugs on engines so that the oil inside them pours out onto the floor while running around screaming at the top of his voice, "Mayday, Mayday, get all of the birds to safety. I think we have an oil slick on our hands." Banned from taking the air hose and placing it in his mouth before pulling back the silver trigger that made all of his hair stand up and his eyes to bulge. Banned from grabbing 3 or 4 of those mega-sized towel rolls and going up to the mezzanine floor before launching them off into the air, so that they streamed out and down onto the workshop floor, all the while screaming, "Argentina! Argentina!" Banned from sitting down with the mechanics while they tried to eat their lunch, and telling them that all of those tools and stuff that they have to play with makes them feel horny. Which was okay and understandable, but no help to us other controllers who are now going to have to work out a way to contain all of those fantasies that run about inside Ronnie's head while we try to eat our lunch. This is a poem about migrant workers. I work with a lot of people that come, go, stay, but they have a lot of trouble staying. It's called Peace. The mechanics sought peace while stuck under those 130,000-mile vans trying to clean and replace oil filters and carburetors so that those vans could be rolled out of their workshop as good as new. The mechanics sought peace while staring into the bikes that had been brought into their workshop dying, staring into their engines while their burnt and red fingers twisted back the revs, resting their ears as close to those engines as they could possibly get, just so they could hear and feel the illnesses of those bikes inside their guts, as their fingers twisted away and turned at the caps on those engines trying to heal them. The mechanics who lived in rooms within rented flats with men who also sought peace, sharing their lives with men who washed cars and moved the contents of offices into other offices for less than the cost of a burrito per hour. Men who propped themselves up on their pillows at night seeking peace by drinking cans of cheap beer and eating kebabs, Skyping their families far away in other countries. Men who got up at 5 a.m. every morning, feeling rejuvenated to march at the sun and swallow the universe, putting up scaffolding or delivering boxes for men who weren't anywhere near the men that they were. The mechanics sought peace under those 130,000-mile vans because they didn't have a fig tree to sit under like Buddha did. The mechanics who tried to heal those dying bikes with their fingers and hearts because they didn't have a woman to hold at night. The mechanics who couldn't afford anything more other than to exist in their rooms within rented flats filled with other men, all seeking the same type of peace that eagles gliding through the immense sky feel. Through a thing at my work, as you most probably guessed, I talk a lot about work, but we're going through at my courier company, where we sit there as controllers allocating out the work, and now they've got this little pesky computer that is now going to do it for us, and it's the start of automation taking over. This one's about that, and it's called The Things Our Hands Once Stood For. The new automated allocating system will not need hands to press buttons to send down jobs to couriers. The new automated allocating system will do that automatically. It will not need a man to cover it while it takes a lunch break, a man to sit in its seat while it takes its 20 days paid holiday a year, a man to look after its couriers whenever it calls in sick. Because the new automated allocating system won't ever take lunch breaks. It won't ever need holidays, and it will never ever call in sick. The new automated allocating system won't need the men who for years have sat in front of their screens working out which couriers should get which jobs, the men whose hands have helped build this company, the same hands that once helped rivet together the Humber Bridge, weld pipes together 2,000 feet under the North Sea that ran gas into villages and cities, that placed the cherry on top of the cake in a baker's on a high street long ago shut, replaced by Subways, McDonald's, Starbucks, express chains, pound shops, where bookies and pawn shops sit side by side, and we aren't supposed to get the irony. Hands that drop change into the homeless woman's polystyrene cup because they know that it could be them next. Hands that came from hands who once picked up a shovel to dig a trench on a battlefield of a war they didn't start. From hands that pickaxed at rock 200 feet under Newcastle, freeing the coal that would power this progress that these hands are now not a part of. Progress that has seen jobs disappear or moved overseas, leaving hands behind that still need to open a tin of beans, throw a steak on a griddle pan, break open an egg, hold a pint of milk, stick a fork into sausages, feed them into his mouth. Hands that pay rent, electricity bills, dentist bills, council tax, insurance premiums, hold their women at night under skies that break open thunder, that once hung doors in council flats, schools and libraries, welded ships together, replaced the heart or kidney of an 8-year-old boy. Hands that soon won't even be needed anymore, whose only use will be to pick up a pen and write a poem about the things their hands once stood for. I swear this is my last poem about mine. I'm getting on to the poets. This is called Why Not a Job?
Why not a job to dedicate your life to? Why does it always have to be a man who died on a cross, or who sat under a fig tree, or who was the last messenger to bring the words of an invisible and unreachable God to us? Those words don't feed us or keep us warm. They don't feed the homeless man or woman. But a job could put a pair of gloves on a pair of their hands. A job could put a hat on their head and help stop them from getting cold. Why does a job not get sung out for in churches, have drums beaten for? Why not a job that pays for the water and food that goes into the mouths of our families? Wouldn't it be better to stand up for our right to have a job, rather than our right to hold a gun in our hands? Why not a job to wave banners about in the air for, to hold hands on the 1st of May for? Why not a job that pays for a roof over our heads, feeds electricity and heat into our homes, rather than the bullet into a black man's neck? Why not a job as our right, rather than these gods that we keep rattling their fucking cages for? Why can't these jobs be our gods, our way of earning a living, the religion